This is the M4 Mac Mini, a $599 powerhouse. 1 week ago today, I decided to impulse buy this base model M4 Mac Mini to give M4 and Apple Silicon a chance. This specific Mac Mini is, like I said, the base model, so it comes with 256 gigs of storage and 16 gigs of unified memory. On top of that, you only get Thunderbolt 4 instead of Thunderbolt 5 as seen on the M4 Pro Mac Minis. However, you don't really need that for most things. First, when you talk about design, the redesigned Mac Mini is quite elegant. It is way smaller than previous Mac Minis and it looks great. If you compare it to something like an Apple TV, they are pretty much the exact same design. One is just black and one is bigger and silver. I actually really wish they made these in black because I think something like this in this color on my desk would look incredible. However, when you actually look at these two devices, they are not so different in size. They are almost exactly the same thickness, and the Mac Mini is obviously a little bit larger, but it is really good looking. When it comes to the Mac Mini, most people, and I would agree with them, have a problem with the storage. Your base model Mac Mini is 256 gigs. That is a really small amount of storage for 2025, considering 512, 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes. Storage is so cheap nowadays. To get any sort of cheap SSD, it is easy. And for a device as powerful as this to come with such a low amount of storage is definitely, it's kind of sad in a way why Apple would choose to put such a low amount of storage. I guess it is a way for them to increase profits. However, I think that this should at least come with 512 gigs of storage. As somebody who edits videos, edits photos, and even works on coding, 256 gigs does not last very long at all. And while you can upgrade the storage internally, I would highly suggest picking something up like an external SSD. You can use an external SSD as your main drive for your Mac Mini. You can set it behind and nobody will even notice it's there, and it will be way cheaper in the long run. The price to upgrade to 512 gigs from 256 and buying an external SSD, you could probably get a 1 terabyte external for the price of 256 gigs in Apple's eyes. Let's talk performance. The M4 Mac Mini handles most daily tasks with ease. Even doing video editing, it is no issue at all. Working on photos, there is no problem. Doing pretty much anything, the M4 Mac Mini handles it with ease. Now, I would say that rendering videos is kind of where it slows down. Rendering a 4K 60 FPS video definitely took some time, and although I had other things to do, if you were waiting on just the video to render, it is a bit time consuming. When you look at benchmark results for the M4 Mac Mini, it is pretty insane how it is more powerful than the M1 chips, the M2 chips, and the M3 chips, and even some of the older Pro chips, it is more powerful than. And that is really awesome to see how much power they're squeezing out of the Apple Silicon chips. And in just 4 generations, we have seen quite the increase in power. When it comes to some people's other gripes on this device, the power button was something I saw the largest complaint about. However, to me, I would kind of disagree. I don't find a problem with the power button. While yes, if it's sitting flat on a desk, you have to reach and kind of lift it up to press it. But the M4 is so power efficient and it hardly draws power when it's sleeping that you don't need to shut this device off. If you are using the M4 Mac Mini, simply putting it to sleep will work just fine. It will hardly draw any power while it's asleep, and then 1, you can access it more quickly because all you have to do is click the mouse or the keyboard and it turns on, and 2, you just don't need to put it into shutdown. You hardly ever need to shut down the Mac Mini unless you are like updating the software, which even then it reboots itself. So I don't see a problem with the location of the power button. I have pressed this power button 1 time, and that was the night that I actually bought this and set it up. I pressed the power button to turn it on for the first time. Since then, it has just been in sleep anytime I need to. It goes into auto sleep after so much inactivity, and if I'm done, I just put it into sleep and it works just fine. Overall, I am extremely happy with my Mac Mini purchase. Now, I have always been a Windows user, so buying the Mac Mini was my way of experiencing Mac OS kind of for the first time and really using the full Apple ecosystem to its fullest extent, and I have loved every minute of it. Being able to actually use Xcode and code iPhone programs is pretty cool. I can't do that on my iPhone unless I want to use something like Flutter, but I wanted to try doing actual Swift coding, and it was really nice. It was a good experience. Now, overall, I think Xcode is kind of crappy, and most people don't like Xcode, but that's for another day. The overall experience with the M4 Mac Mini has been awesome, and if you are looking for a little powerhouse, a cheap budget computer, this is something you need to consider. If you're not someone who plays games, you don't really need to do gaming, $600 for this little device is quite incredible, and I would recommend it to pretty much anyone. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions about the M4 Mac Mini, feel free to drop them down below. Leave a like and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it, and until next time.